Welcome back, DIYers. I've been really looking forward to showing you guys this. This is a tool combo kit from ACDelco. And you can see the model number right here. Let's see what's in it. Now, a lot of times tool combo kits can kind of be a ripoff, but I'm thinking this one might be a really good value. Comes with a little impact wrench. And this is all cordless, of course. And here's what I think is the crown jewel of the kit, the brushless cordless ratchet. And we also have the mini polisher and sander. Now I'm going to be going through each of these one by one and doing a separate review on each one after I get a little time using them, of course, so you can get some real feedback. But for right now, we're just going to unbox the kit and see what we have. So let's start with this little impact wrench. Max torque of 90 foot-pounds. It's not very much, but man, this thing's tiny. This really is nice and compact. And it's got a 3/8 inch drive on it, so your sockets just go right on there. The overmolding and the plastic bits look pretty nice. Directional switch. And you know, these ACDelco 12-volt tools, they look very similar to me to the Harbor Freight Earthquake brand. I wouldn't be surprised if they aren't very similar. Cool little exploded diagram. This actually is pretty neat. It shows you the hammer and the little gear set and everything. It's kind of cool. There's nothing else in the box there. I don't know what else much to say. It's a little miniature impact wrench. That's going to be useful. Moving on. I'm going to save this guy for the last. Now this little mini polisher, I've sort of unreasonably been looking forward to this. I don't know why I really want it so bad, but I just like the idea of, you know, using this little thing to sand and buff things. It sounds fun to me. And as we can see, this is the box that comes with the battery charger. And it comes with 2 batteries. Not too bad for the price of this kit. Now you guys take a good look at these batteries and tell me what other kind of batteries they look like. If you know any other batteries from other manufacturers that could be compatible, let me know in the comments below. What do you say we go ahead and get this thing plugged in and get it charging? Alright, I mean, the battery charger is nice and simple. Light turns red when the battery is charging, and I guess it goes green whenever it's done. So let's get back to this little mini polisher. Looks like we have the same kind of exploded diagram for the polisher. Booklet for the charger. It's going to be self-explanatory, I'm sure. And let's take a look at the manual for the polisher. It's got some instructions on how to wax and buff and polish. I think you probably want to look up some better instructions than what's in here if you don't know how to do that already. Oh, and that's kind of it. There's not much to the manual. The rest of this is in foreign languages. Kind of useless. Comes with a little advertisement letting you know if you sign up to their spam list, you can get 10% off of another battery. I might actually do that. Let's see. Now, one of the things I do want to point out about this little guy is that ACDelco has 2 different versions of these. One is a single speed, and this 2-speed one is actually brushless. The speed switch is up here on top. Forward looks like it's high. Backwards is low. Has directional switch too. That's kind of interesting. Because I'm pretty sure if you run this thing backwards, it's just going to spin off the discs. Speaking of discs, it comes with a few. These are the mounting discs. And the way these things work is you just spin it on. Just like that. And as an example, these little sanding pads right here, they just Velcro on. And you go... Comes with a little granny handle here too. These little rubber nubs right here. You pop these guys off. That's kind of nice that they include these. That way dust and stuff doesn't get down in there. Even though, you know, you're probably gonna lose these things. But that just threads on there just like that. See, we have a foam buffer and a little cotton buffer and a few sanding discs. If you can look real closely, you can see the grit. Like this one's a 240 grit. This one, I can't see what it is, but it feels finer. And then this one is a 600 grit. Obviously, you're going to need a lot more of these discs, but it comes with enough to get you started. At least enough for me to try it out. And you know, I gotta say, I'm really impressed with the size of this thing. I mean, look how tiny it is. I also like the fact that it's brushless. That's better for both tool longevity and for battery longevity too. Now the impact wrench over here is not brushless, but I'm sure it's going to be fine. Oh, that's interesting. I just noticed this. You push the button to put it into forward gear and you can depress the switch. You put it into reverse and it locks out the switch. So maybe this thing doesn't actually have a forward and reverse. They probably just used the same body with both of these guys, or maybe something else, maybe a drill or something. And maybe they just use this switch as like a trigger lockout. Better put this plug back in before I lose it. Now these didn't come with a carrying case or anything like that, so I'm gonna have to figure out some way to store these guys. I'll probably just get like a soft case, put everything in. But you know, these big bulky boxes, they gotta go. Here's the two speeds, 2800 RPM and 7600 RPM. Oh, and if you notice, that's 0-2. So this trigger is actually a variable trigger. Very nice. The pad diameter is 3 inches, and this thing weighs less than 2 pounds. Very handy. Now we can pitch this. And there wasn't really much to look at on the impact wrenches box. Now let's take a look at why I wanted this kit to begin with. The brushless cordless ratchet wrench. It has a claimed max torque of 65 foot-pounds. I'll definitely be testing that later. It's a 3/8 inch drive, and it can go up to 220 RPM, 0 to 220 RPM, so it's a variable speed. That's a nice feature. Now ACDelco makes, I think, 3 different versions of cordless ratchet wrenches, and this one is the flagship. This is their brushless one. It's a direct competitor to Milwaukee's tools, but it's half the cost of that very popular Milwaukee. Now this thing does seem pretty chonky. I would not call this a small head, especially for a 3/8 inch drive. I wish I had a 3/8 inch air ratchet to show you to compare with, but I think this is a little bit chonkier than your typical air ratchet. Definitely through this part of the body here. It's got a little trigger lockout switch on it. Just squeezing the trigger here like this, it feels kind of nice and progressive. And this thing feels really solid. It does not feel like a cheap tool. And that's the main reason why I wanted to go with this ACDelco cordless ratchet. There's a lot of other cordless ratchets out there that, you know, you can pick them up for only like 50, 60 bucks or so, but they just have way too much plastic through the body and their head isn't going to be very strong. And one of the most impressive claims that ACDelco makes is that you can put 100 foot-pounds of torque manually on the thing, regardless of what the motor's doing. So if you get on a really stuck bolt, you can break that thing loose manually and spin it off the rest of the way with the ratchet. And of course, I'll be testing that out too. The little selector sounds nice. Has a nice little click to it. Positive detents. Not really sure, but it looks like you could actually take this apart if you really wanted to. This probably unscrews, or this unscrews, or something like that. But look how far down the body the metal structure goes. It basically goes all the way down to the battery compartment. So imagine getting a good grip on it like this, where you're holding on to the metal and you're clamping onto the switch and really reefing on this thing. I'm really excited to get out and start using these guys, but of course our batteries are going to have to charge first. So I'll be doing an individual video on each of these tools, and I'm going to be using them a lot in future projects. You know, let's see if these little LED battery meters actually work and tell us how much of a charge these guys were shipped from the factory. And while I was slapping the battery in, the battery on the charger actually went green. That only took like maybe 10 minutes. Oh, that's kind of loud. So thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the detailed, action-packed reviews of each one of these tools. And I think I'm gonna start with this one because I'm just so excited to use it.